After the humiliating defeat in the First World War and the strict restrictions imposed by the Treaty of Versailles, Germany seemed condemned to remain trapped in humiliation and impotence. However, in just 6 years, the country went from being constrained by international impositions to becoming one of the most feared military powers in the world. Under the leadership of Adolf Hitler, the German nation managed to transform its devastated economy into a formidable war machine. With cunning and determination, the Nazi leader challenged the restrictions imposed on him, reversing the situation and pushing the country to a level of military readiness that left its enemies confused and unprepared. This rapid rearmament was the result of meticulous planning and an ambitious military vision. Let us now unravel how the Nazi regime managed to rise again with a force of such magnitude that it stunned the entire world. After the signing of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, Germany found itself in an extremely difficult situation, suffering an unprecedented humiliation. The conditions imposed were severe. Its army was limited to just 100,000 men. Its ability to produce weapons was restricted, and the economy was devastated by the enormous war reparations it had to pay to the victorious nations. This treaty, conceived as a measure to prevent future aggression, in reality left Germany in a vulnerable position, completely exposed to foreign intervention and poverty. This treatment not only meant the destruction of the German armed forces, but also the loss of much of its territory. The nation was left divided, without sufficient resources to sustain its economy. The German working class endured one of the harshest periods in its history. Major cities lay in ruins, and the population suffered inflation, mass unemployment, and hunger. The humiliation caused by the treaty's restrictions was felt in every corner of German society. For many, the imposed conditions represented collective punishment, a reminder of defeat and the loss of national dignity. Yet it was within this climate of frustration and resentment that a figure began to emerge who would change Germany's history forever: Adolf Hitler.
The call of Germany awakened was Adolf Hitler's campaigning slogan in the 1930s. Hitler's promise to make Germany great again proved alluring to ordinary German voters.
Hitler would use social unrest to forge a new Reich, ready to challenge the entire world. Although the Treaty of Versailles seemed to have left Germany powerless, the nation was not willing to remain still. In 1922, Germany signed the Treaty of Versailles with the Soviet Union, an agreement that allowed Germans to train their army on Soviet territory. This pact was crucial in enabling Germany to develop new military tactics and, more importantly, to begin creating advanced war technology without Western powers knowing. Through this secret agreement with the USSR, Germany not only trained its armed forces, but also began building aircraft and tanks, while improving its submarine warfare capabilities. These developments took place in secrecy, and the Allied powers never suspected that the Nazi regime was, in reality, laying the foundations for a future large-scale conflict. This underground rearmament, carried out under the facade of diplomatic agreements, was essential to the success of the Nazi war machine. Through military training and development on Soviet soil, the Germans were able to circumvent the restrictions of the Treaty of Versailles and lay the groundwork for future military expansion. Meanwhile, the Soviet government also saw in this treaty an opportunity to weaken the capitalist European powers. Years later, Germany would exploit its secret relationship with the USSR to bypass the treaty's limitations and begin building the war machinery that would dominate Europe in the early years of the Second World War.
The Weimar government embarked upon a policy of secretly expanding its forces. Even limited to 100,000 men, the post-war Reichswehr was a significant military weapon. All of its men were superbly trained career professionals, and they would form the nucleus of a later field army.
On January 30th, 1933, Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany, marking the beginning of a new era for the country. With a speech that appealed to nationalism and German pride, Hitler exploited social and economic unrest to present himself as the leader who would restore Germany's greatness. His message focused on repudiating the Treaty of Versailles and restoring the nation's military power. His charisma and ability to manipulate the population's feelings of desperation earned him unwavering loyalty from many sectors of society. Under the Nazi regime, the country moved from distrust to action. Hitler used internal tensions and national humiliation to consolidate his power. In 1935, he reintroduced compulsory military service, a direct challenge to the treaty's restrictions. From that moment on, a massive rearmament began, transforming the German army. Hitler did not merely restore the army. He began creating a large-scale war machine. This rearmament was not only about rebuilding the armed forces, but about creating a well-trained, highly disciplined military apparatus ready for action. What had appeared to be a defeated and humiliated nation was rapidly becoming one of the most powerful military forces in the world. To ensure his rearmament plans advanced without opposition, Hitler surrounded himself with a close circle of loyal military officers and politicians who shared his vision of a new German empire. Weapons production accelerated, and before long, the Nazi war machine was ready to expand.
The key to expansion was the German arms industry. Without the means to build the weapons, there would have been no rearmament.
As the Nazi regime consolidated itself, the German economy was rapidly militarized. German companies such as Krupp, Siemens, and IG Farben began receiving government contracts to produce weapons and war machinery. German industry shifted from civilian goods to almost exclusive military production. The construction of tanks, aircraft, and submarines became a top priority for the Nazi government. This shift was not merely a matter of industrial policy. It was a strategy to ensure Germany could rebuild its army quickly. Weapons production, combined with the support of major industrialists, allowed Germany to be ready for war far earlier than the Allied powers could imagine. Factories that once produced civilian machinery were converted into war factories. Nazi Germany quickly became an efficient war machine. Not only were weapons built, but advanced technologies were developed in aviation, submarine production, and armored vehicle manufacturing, creating an industrial infrastructure that seemed unstoppable. Throughout these years, the German economy was designed to sustain future conflict. Funds allocated to weapons construction and war expansion far exceeded investment in other economic sectors. What appeared to be a new economic miracle was, in reality, a system based on the total mobilization of the nation for war.
But Hitler did have the support of the great majority. Maybe not for war, not at first, but Hitler convinced the German people war would make Germany strong.
Germany's rearmament was rapid and relentless. As the 1930s progressed, the German army began surpassing the limits imposed by the Treaty of Versailles. By 1938, Germany already had an army of more than 1 million soldiers, and the Luftwaffe had become one of the most powerful air forces in the world. The Wehrmacht was equipped with modern tanks and fighter aircraft, and the Kriegsmarine had rebuilt its submarine fleet. Despite protests from foreign powers, Hitler did not stop. By 1939, Germany was ready to invade Poland, triggering the Second World War. Hitler's decision to openly defy the Treaty of Versailles carried a high political cost. But the speed and efficiency with which Germany rearmed stunned everyone. German rearmament was not only a direct challenge to European powers, but also exposed the weakness of the democracies that had imposed the treaty. While Europe remained in a state of complacency, Germany prepared to conquer the continent. The result was a rapid and efficient rearmament that overwhelmed the Allied powers.
Treaty. By restoring German military capability, Hitler also restored her ability to wage aggressive war. It was a capability he intended to use to the full.
Germany's rearmament, though impressive, was not based on a solid economy. The hidden truth behind Germany's military resurgence was the massive exploitation of slave labor. Prisoners of war, Jews and other groups were forced to work under inhumane conditions in factories and concentration camps to keep the war machine running. The Nazi regime built a facade of prosperity and economic success, but behind that image lay the brutal reality of slavery. The forced labor of millions under extreme exploitation allowed German industry to continue operating at the cost of countless human lives. Nazi propaganda played a key role in concealing these atrocities, portraying a prosperous and powerful Germany while victims suffered in silence. As the war progressed, the human resources required to sustain the war effort increased, and Nazi Germany did not hesitate to resort to slave labor. This enabled industry to maintain production levels, but also meant the Nazi economy was deeply distorted and built on exploitation. Although Germany managed to rearm rapidly, the economy sustaining it collapsed as the war advanced. Resource shortages, the destruction of forced labor camps, and the exploitation of the Jewish population as a source of income all contributed to the system's breakdown. Once the Nazi war machine entered the final phase of the war, the German economic system began to collapse. The false prosperity constructed by Hitler began to crumble as the country's resources were exhausted. The economic well-being of Germans between 1933 and 1945 was not the result of brilliant economic planning, but of exploitation, plunder, and systematic violence. The truth of the Nazi economy was finally revealed when the war ended and the regime collapsed. This brings us to the end. If you enjoyed this video, we invite you to join us in our next installment.